Perry Hotel opened in May of 2017, right before Hurricane Irma hit. It's a 100-room hotel with 2 swimming pools and a beautiful marina in the back, the Stock Island Marina. Did y'all see that marina back there? That's where the mega yachts go, you guys. Like, you think mega yachts go to Key West? No, they come here. I don't know if I can squeeze through here or not. But it's a beautiful marina with 288 slips and enough space for 300-foot yachts. Mine's only 280, so it fits. Can you see that, Clarissa, if I can make it? Okay. I think I got it. Thank you, though. Famous last words. I think I got it. So Stock Island. Why is it called Stock Island? Big question in everybody's mind, right? We used to have cows that roamed around Stock Island, donkeys, horses, all to supply Key West, livestock, if you will. So it became known as Stock Island. At one point, when the railroad was being built, in a newspaper article in 1906, it was referred to as Flagler, the town of Flagler, but that never stuck. It was the only time it was ever mentioned. 1940s was the first time you heard Stock Island mentioned. That one stuck. Now, this side of the island is county property. We'll go to the other side in a little while. That's going to be City of Key West on the island of Stock Island. That's not confusing at all, is it? So on the far end over there, Stock Island Marina Village, is Coconut Row. That's where the liveaboards are. The rest of these are all recreational leisure boats, large and small. Did y'all know that we had greyhound racing on Stock Island? There you go. Well, they had 2 mechanical rabbits over the years. One was Swifty, one was Clunky. Now the track over here, you can kind of still see it, amazingly enough. If you look here to the right, between these 2 fences, it went around that body of water before this development was built. It had a metal roof on it and no sides, so it was a dog track. On opening night, it drew 4,000 people, you guys. Now, the population of Stock Island has remained pretty steady at 4,400 people. It means like the entire population of Stock Island, right? Now, it was so loud here because that water would echo. It was so loud that when they said, "Here comes Swifty," or "Here comes Conky," you could hear it across the entire island. Yeah, it was a really big deal. It closed mid-season in 1991 because they had a problem with the animal waste sewage, and so it closed in the middle of the season. It's the only time the American Kennel Club closed a greyhound track in the middle of the season. It never did reopen. Now this is Shrimp Road we're getting ready to turn on. If we were to make a left, all the way at the end down there, down a private drive, is Robbie's Marina. You might have heard of Robbie's up in Island Mirada where you feed the tarpon. It's the same Robbie, different marina. That one was purchased from the county after it was condemned for pennies of what it's worth. It's like invaluable now. Waterfront properties. Look on those photos that I told you about. You can see it. It's that long, the long one on the left of the channel. Really, really nice piece of property. It's now a boat yard, so people live on their boats at the boat yard. Over here on the left is Bernstein Park. This one, oh yeah, you can go. That's a community center over on the left. This one was renovated 2016 to 2018 at almost $8 million. They raised it up 6 feet. So look, it's only a couple feet above the road. It used to flood like crazy. Now this corner floods. Over here on the right, we're stock cars. This was a stock car junkyard here on the right because we had stock car racing here too. Who knew? Really? So in 1955 and 1956, and then again from 1960 to 1967, about 2 blocks to our left was a race car track. You can't see any of it anymore. I tried. I mean, I drove around here looking at it. It's all, the little bit of the track that's still there is all overgrown. It was a dirt track with the turn 3 and 4 were asphalt. But you can't see it anymore, unfortunately. If you go again on those pictures I put on there, you can see an aerial view. You can see the one with the semicircle of the mangroves. That's the part of the track that was paved. One of my favorite things about that, about the stock car racing was the powder puff races. racing for the ladies. Yeah.
You gotta do it for the girls.
Exactly, back in the 60s. So you'll see Stock Island is very industrial, right? We also have a lot of trailer homes. We have a problem with housing down here in Key West and Stock Island. It's very expensive to live here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Coming up here, we have Oiley's Garage on the left. And if you've ever come down here, you've noticed a lot of cars here on the corner park. Today's they're not. Oiley's must have caught up with their work. There's like no cars parked here all week long. Cars coming in and out right here on the right, going to Oiley's shop on the left. Over here on the right, we affectionately call this Marina La Curva. About 50 commercial boats operate in here. They catch a lot of yellowtail snapper, lobsters, crab. They bring them in and they ship that seafood all over the country and locally. So this is a very, very active, old school fishing community. A lot of the fishermen here are of Cuban descent, or they're like multi-generational conchs, if you will. You know what conchs are? They're the people that are born here in Key West and Stock Island. Well, at the hospital on Stock Island, because that's still Key West. Anyway, a lot of them fish with hand lines. They're on a circle, and they turn that circle around to bring the fish up. They don't use the rod and reel. They're old school fishing. That's hard fishing. I couldn't imagine. I mean, imagine what you're, even with gloves on, your hands must hurt after that, you know? So coming up on the right, we have a little complex that's been called the Perry Arnold Complex. It's called the Bernstein Complex. I don't know what it's called now, but there's some really cool artists that work back here. We have the Soul House, which is a really nice showcase for interior designers. There's also an art gallery called Sacred Space Key West. That's full of art made by women. And then we have a sculptor, Craig Gray. He operates over here on the right. Mr. Gray has sculptures all over the country, as far away as San Francisco, Boston. Yep, and he's currently, if you look at these benches down here, those benches are going to go on White Street Pier. Yeah, really nice guy. I met him a couple days ago, and he's real friendly. He's, oh, there he is back there in the blue shirt. I guess he's feeling shy today. You know, he's an artist. So.
He's in the moment.
He's in the moment. His wife has a soap shop back here, kind of back behind us to the left. She makes soaps and sells them online and also craft fairs. Pretty cool, huh? I think the dolphins are granite. They're granite. Anybody want a dolphin sculpture? I think we can fit it in here in the back seat. What do you think? Yeah, he does some really cool artwork.
Hey everybody, did the audio get better when I took the mic off? I think Kim's mic is better.
Sorry, I think I might have hit it a couple times.
Yours is good.
Okay.
And yes, we do have conch here.
The only thing I'm allergic to is conch, and I became allergic when I moved to the Conch Republic. Isn't that weird? I'm like, is this a sign? Am I not supposed to be here? But I didn't take it as a sign. I just took it as I'm not supposed to eat conch. So in a little bit, I'm going to show you a development where the trailer parks have been removed and a big apartment complex is going in. I've heard that this property sold. I don't know if that's true. Clarissa, you might know more than I do.
I don't know.
But I've heard that that's sold, so it's happening a lot around here. The gentrification of Stock Island. Now here on the right, this used to be Spencer's Boatyard, and then it was just used for storage for a long time. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, a place called Coast opened up. And it was a bunch of art gallery spaces, local art. They also put in several shipping containers that artists were using for studio space. And then the county came in, red tagged everybody and said, you're not allowed to operate businesses out of shipping containers. And so they got shut down. Now the Art Shack opened, and the one guy with the no shirt on, he brings in all of these plants. He's opening a nursery called Sweaty Palms. Yeah, funny guy. He also has a t-shirt shop in here called Island Insanity, where you can get your Keys Disease t-shirt. And then there's several artists. That's the palm frond weaver guy. So if you want some palm frond weaving done, like one of those palm frond hats. There's also another artist that has space in there named Raphael that I had the opportunity to speak with the other day. He creates some amazing, really nice tropical art. It would look great in your homes here, and also you know, if you want to ship it out to anybody for a gift. He is the son of the man who painted the southernmost point signs, and he created them and painted them up until just a couple of years ago. He retired recently, but his son Raphael is one of the artists there at the art shack. So while you're out here on Stock Island, if you guys want to go wander around, pop into some of these places, they'd all love to see you. So most of you probably know where we're headed. Anyone? Anyone? Hogfish!
Yay, Hogfish.
I call it the world famous Hogfish Bar and Grill. Did you know that it started with one sandwich? Can you guess which one? The fried hogfish. Yeah, right. Amberjack, no. The fried hogfish sandwich. And it's located at Safe Harbor Marina. It's a big marina. If you look down here, this is one of the docks. It goes all the way past the restaurant up here. They have liveaboard boats here, Airbnb boats, and the world famous Mel Fisher treasure salvage boats are here. I'm going to try to show it to you. It's hard to see because there's so many boats here, but I'm going to try to point out to you. Look to the right. You see the big boat out there with the blue hull and white top sides?
Yep.
And then as I go forward, you can see those big aluminum like pipe looking things on the back. There's 3 of them. That's the JB
It
Magruder.
sucks up the sand.
It's, yeah, and it also blows out the sand too. It'll blow the sand off of the space that they want to check for.
That's cool.
So for those of you that aren't familiar with Mel Fisher, he was the man that found the Spanish galleon Atocha that sank in 1644. Biggest treasure find ever for the United States. They continue to find treasure today. So you can go out there, you can take a trip on the Magruder and go treasure hunting with them.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we have the world famous Hogfish Bar and Grill. One of our favorite places. Owner Bobby Mongelli also owns Geiger Key Marina, which is up about at mile marker 10. We're about 6, about 5 miles up the road. And he also owns Rustica out here on Stock Island, one of our favorite pizza places. Great guy. He wants to keep this area, Safe Harbor Marina, just like it is today. Doesn't want to change it at all. It's like old Stock Island. This is how Key West was back in the day. I wouldn't know. I mean, I'm only 22, so I wouldn't know anything about that. But anyway, he wants to keep it exactly the same. So while Stock Island's being gentrified around Safe Harbor, this is going to remain the same as long as Bobby has anything to do with it. So I wanted to pull up here. I know it's kind of hard to see for you in the back, but if you look to the left out there across the water, you see some shrimp boats out there.
Yep.
Now the shrimp boats used to dock in Key West, at the main Key West Harbor, where all the leisure boats are nowadays and all the snorkel boats. Key West pink shrimp was found in 1947. Huge boon to the economy. They called it pink gold. Shrimpers came from all over the country to shrimp for pink gold, and at the time all the shrimp boats were parked over there in the Key West Harbor. If you look back at old pictures, you'll see those shrimp boats were piled up in the Key West Harbor. They had to climb across one another's boats to get to their boats. Now our fleet only consists of about 30 to 50 boats. Right now there's very few here because they're out shrimping.
Yeah.
So if you haven't had Key West pink shrimp, make sure you give it a try. It sure is tasty.
Yeah, those guys stay out there for weeks in a row.
They do. They stay out there for weeks. They shrimp. They work hard. They're not allowed to drink. So when they come ashore,
They make up for
oh
lost time.
my gosh.
And
I'll
I
tell
was
you-
told that
Plus
the
you get a
reason that they
pocket full.
stay offshore when it's really windy and they can't shrimp is because they can't come ashore because they'll never get their crew back.
It's correct. Yes. So when it gets windy, sometimes you'll go along like South Roosevelt, Smathers Beach, and you'll see shrimp boats out there. They don't come ashore, exactly what Clarissa was saying up here, because they'll lose their crew. They'll go to Duval Street and never come back.
Right.
If you go fishing, you go past the shrimp boat, and then you pick up the waste, so what's left off the shrimping
Oh,
on the
yeah.
deck, and that's great for bait, for fishing.
You find dolphins back there too.
Yeah, and then if you throw in a 6-pack, they throw in a nice bag of shrimp for the day as well.
Nice. I've heard you can go out there with like a bottle of rum or a
Yeah,
pack of cigarettes and you get some shrimp.
Yeah.
All right, well, I was going to tell you my cockfighting story later, but we got a couple of cocks fighting over here on the right. Looks like they stopped just in time. I'll tell you my story in a few minutes. So the shrimpers, man, they were a rough, well, they still are kind of a rough group, but they would come here on Stock Island, and I mean, like they were ready to drink and ready to fight. So in a minute, I'll tell you about one of the shrimpers' favorite bars, which, by the way, Hogfish was one of their favorites. Now it's more of a tourist destination. But back in the day, the shrimpers would go there and they'd throw the beer bottles at each other, so they started only serving canned beer. People didn't get hurt.
So where do they go now? It's Hogfish. What's the new?
You know, I try to stay away from shrimper bars these days.
I was just curious.
Yeah, actually, I don't. I mean, I've seen, like, you see a couple shrimpers here and there, but there's not as many of them as there used to be. You know, there used to be just like hordes of them because there were so many shrimp boats here. But there's not as many shrimp out there now because we overfish. There's not as many shrimpers or shrimp boats. So they're kind of spread out now. Fish Busters over here on the right for your fresh seafood needs. They deliver to a lot of restaurants around here. And they also have a retail store here on Stock Island. Oh, you got Boyd's Campground. Who's staying at Boyd's? That's what you got. You guys in the back staying at Boyd's Campground. Great place, isn't it?
Oops.
So I used to conduct adventure tours all over the country. I took people tent camping in a van about this size with all the camping gear and luggage up on the roof. And we were driving from place to place around the country. Well, I brought a group down here in 2005, way before I lived here. And back then, you know, you didn't do online booking. It was 2005. And so I would pay cash a lot of times for the campgrounds. And I came here to pay cash, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it costs like 10 times as much as it did all the other campgrounds we went to. And so I actually called the headquarters in Los Angeles, and I was like, hey, is this supposed to cost this much? They're like, oh yeah, that's the most expensive campground in the country. Would y'all agree? Would you agree?
Pretty expensive.
Actually, KOA did
Oh, the KOA? Sugarloaf KOA is now the highest?
when they reopened. Yeah,
They're gonna make up for lost time, right?
exactly.
So, I mean, this is a nice campground. I heard it's up to $3,200 a month for an RV here at Boyd's.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, rent the trailers here, right? Long-term rentals of the trailers on Stock Island is nearing, or maybe it is about $2,000 a month to rent a trailer. If you want to get a bedroom, it's going to cost you about $1,000 a month for a bedroom and a trailer. So you can imagine what rent's like over in Key West. Studio apartment, $2,800 all day long. It's definitely a big problem we have here is housing. You know, there's only so much island, there's only so many places to live. This is the building of 5-6's taxis. 5-6 has been operating for, I don't know, over 50 years here. Those are the big taxis you can see driving around. They're all individually owned now since Uber and Lyft have changed the landscape of the taxi community. That's why you see so many taxis over here. This headquarters is there. You see lots of lobster traps. The wooden ones are lobster traps. The black, hard plastic ones are like milk crates. Those are the stone crab traps. You can see stuck up here by the flag. Those are the stone crab traps. The stone crabs, have y'all had stone crab? Ooh, they're good, aren't they?
Yeah.
Those are a renewable resource. The crabs have the ability to just let their claw go. And so some crabbers, they kind of take the claw forcefully. No need. You can actually take the crab and put some pressure like on the inside of its elbow, and it'll just give it to you. And then it'll grow back by next year. It's a full-grown claw again. These crabs are only about this big. That's their bodies. Their claws will get bigger than your hand.
Wow.
Huge. Really tasty. So if you haven't had it, I usually recommend half-shell raw bars for my stone crab claws.
They're out of season now.
Unfortunately, they're out of season, yeah. But with the stone crab claws, you have to cook them right away and then chill them. So a lot of times, sometimes you can get them out of season because they still have some, and it's okay. They're just, you know, they're fresh, they're chilled. Or they'll freeze them and they still keep their same texture. So even when they're frozen, they're still good. I prefer, you know, right out of the trap myself, but especially after they try to bite me. I had one that got my forefinger, and I'm trying to, like, you know, like that girl, you know. And then it came around with its other claw and got me on another finger. Now it's on 2 fingers, and then I was really that girl. So this hotel here is Ocean's Edge Marina. This one used to be called Kings Point Marina. You know, some of you might remember that. It went bankrupt in 2010. There were a bunch of liveaboard boats out here at this marina. I'm going to show you. I'll try not to drive off the edge here. If anybody can see out the windshield. I had somebody go, like, don't scare the people when do that, but it's a good view, you know? The things we do to get the good view. So anyway, Kings Point Marina closed and kicked all the liveaboard boaters out. Pritam Singh, developer, who also developed Truman Annex over in Key West, where the Truman Little White House is, he bought this property and renovated it. Now, when I started this tour in 2016, the hotel wasn't quite complete, and I was told, in fact, on their website, it showed that it was going to be a 78-unit residential area with 17 hotel rooms. And then and I told people that on my tour in 2016, it opened a couple months later as a 175-room hotel. Yeah. So that's interesting, isn't it?
There's a dolphin in the water
Is
there.
there a dolphin up there?
Straight in the channel.
Was it
It'll
dolphin
come
or
up in a
turpin?
second. Right at the
Could
very end, right by the red boat.
it be a turpin?
No, it was a dolphin.
Definitely a
Very,
dolphin.
it's a nice
hard to
size.
tell from
You
here.
can tell the flag. It came up.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Speaking of dolphins, here they are. Cute dolphins. So anyway, now there's no liveaboards in this marina, but lots of fishing boats, charter boats, day trip type boats. And if you didn't know, this place is local friendly. You can come here, grab a drink at the bar, and use one of their 6 swimming pools. And they say that they're the perfect temperature year round. So they must not only heat them, but also cool them.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Do they cool them too?
They're great.
Check that out.
So like the free ones here, then all
Yeah.
that gets in there. The one all the way on the end is called the adult pool. The one in the middle is the lap pool. That one's double size.
Nice. An adult pool, a kid's pool, and a lap pool?
Yeah.
Sweet.
But that one right there is closest to the bar.
Right.
Yeah.
This one's closest to the bar.
Yeah.
That's the one I want to be
Yeah.
at right there.
Yeah.
One with the yellow umbrellas.
Phones.
Should have priorities, right? So the adult pool sounds good too. Do they have like a clothing optional pool? I mean, you have 6 pools. You do all kinds of things
Yeah,
with that, right? So we have over 100 wet slips here, and then we have 52 dry storage units here on the right. Looks full to me.
Yeah, they are.
Because, everybody and their brother has a boat these days, right?
Yeah.
Well, hurricane season started, so everybody wants to have
Yeah, time to
spot
store them.
now, yeah.
So did you all know that the train came to Key West? Did you all
Train?
know about that? Yeah. In 1912, the train arrived in Key West from the mainland. Henry Flagler built it at a cost of $50 million. Cool thing is, it took him less than 8 years to build that. 126 miles of track from Homestead down to Key West. 42 bridges, including the longest bridge in the world, the 7-mile bridge. Less than 8 years of construction. Pretty amazing. And that train ran until 1935 when? What happened?
Hurricane.
Labor Day hurricane 1935 wiped out 2/3 of the track in the Upper Keys. And so they did not rebuild it. The state purchased the right of way for $640,000. Pretty good deal for the
Yeah.
state. And they decided to make a road for cars. Now there was already a road though. They used part of that road, and they also used Flagler's bridges and created a road that in 1938 allowed you to drive your car all the way from the mainland of Florida to Key West without taking a 40-mile ferry ride. Prior to that, when the train was coming down to Key West, there was 40 miles of ferry ride, but there were 2 roads that connected it. So you had a road in the Upper Keys, road in the Lower Keys. It was a dirt road with single-lane wooden bridges. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Especially at night. So it's quite a frightening road. Now those wooden bridges are all gone now. There aren't any left. But there was one that went from Stock Island to Boca Chica. It was about 1,000 feet long. It came out right here at this fence right in front of us where that big banner is. So this was the original State Road 4A. Yep, in the 1970s, they rerouted the road from behind the Navy base, which doesn't seem very secure to me, to where it is currently located. So there's no remnants of that road, but this is where it was right here on the map. This property here is now called Stock Island Yacht Club. A lot of you may have seen it change names over the past few years. It was renovated and sold for something like $25 million and became known as the Key West Harbor Yacht Club. That's kind of confusing. Yeah, I'm a member of the Key West Yacht Club. No, you're not. You're a member of the Key West Harbor Yacht Club. Different yacht club. So the Spotswoods purchased it recently, and they're a big real estate mogul here in Key West and the Lower Keys, and they purchased it. It's now called the Stock Island Yacht Club. I'll take you in here and show you this marina. It's pretty nice. It's big. It kind of wraps around. I put an aerial photo in that group of photos online for you. It's the one that has the like circular marina in there. It's actually pretty cool. Here they've got liveaboards, obviously a lot of recreational boats, fishing boats, etc.
They're gonna tear this whole place down next year. It's gonna be all new.
Really?
Yeah, I heard we're gonna have a big apartment building
Big
there.
apartments. This is all gonna be turned down here. Everything.
And I guess if they can't get the permits, they'll just build it, kind of like Ocean's Edge. Now there is a fine dining restaurant here. Has anybody been to LL's Test Kitchen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been there, so I'm going to take your reviews. Did you like it? Good?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I think the Test Kitchen idea is interesting. From my understanding, it's where the menu always changes.
Yeah.
Right? And they try out different recipes, so you never really know what you're going to have when you come to eat at LL's.
That's up here.
Yeah.
It's right here. They have real fun activities every weekend as well here at the yacht club. The family and everything.
Yeah, and I think their yacht club membership is really reasonable too, if I remember correctly. And that gives you the right seats. What's that?
So we have a boat here, so
Oh, do you?
that's why
Okay. Yeah, and if you have a slip, you get to use the facilities.
yeah, you
right?
get to use the
Yeah.
facilities, yeah.
Now the dry rack storage here is rated for 150-mile-an-hour winds. So this would probably be a good option if you want to put your boat in dry storage for the season.
I just want friends with boats.
Friends with boats are the best boats, aren't they?
I'm a captain, so that's about the same thing.
So
I
you
get
know.
to play with expensive people's cars,
Yeah.
you know. So it's,
That's great.
I don't know my own.
Um, I gotta hang out at the yacht club to meet some people.
You're gonna go meet people in the yacht club?
Well, just to have boats.
Right. Go make some friends.
You know, yeah. There's a big iguana that walked across.
Is that what we're waiting for, the iguana?
Yeah.
He's gonna be run over one day.
Just run it over. There's
Nowadays,
plenty more.
He's gonna be run over when he always sits here. He's so stupid. Beautiful, but stupid.
Yeah. Some people say they taste like chicken.
They do.
I do a lot of driving, you know, so I consider them roadkill.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah, I have. Oh,
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica had it like yourself. I made one for myself here.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did it taste like chicken?
yeah, they do. But they're really good. Really, really. I love it.
I think I just became a vegetarian. It's actually too bad that they, you know, that trend won't catch on. People eating them because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
It feed a lot of people, you know.
Like the cicada bugs. People eat those. Good with that.
So back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, into the early 80s, we had a nasty sport called cockfighting. If you look on the right over there, there's a big building, a white building with a blue stripe at the top, some air conditioning units on top. There was a big cockfighting ring up there. Why'd they put it on the roof? I don't know. But it had a great view, right? So anyway, that's where quite a bit of cockfighting occurred here on the roof of that building. Thank goodness that was outlawed in the 70s when all the birds in the Florida Keys came under protection, including the chickens and roosters. In the 1980s, they actually put their foot down around here and they stopped the cockfighting. Now, the wealthy men that were involved in cockfighting, they would import roosters from around the world that were good fighters. They had good fighting genes. So they came in a variety of sizes, shapes, and colors. So if you look at the chickens and roosters on Key West and Stock Island, and now they're up on Big Plank Key too, you'll see some of them are white, some of them are black, big, small, multicolored. They're now a mixed breed that we call the Key West chicken. Lots of lobster stone crab traps. Yeah, the lobster traps are quite a bit bigger than the stone crab traps, and they're made out of wood. I guess because the stone crabs can probably just chew their way right on out of that trap. But you know, our lobsters don't have any claws, so they have a harder time. lot of people ask me, Kim, do you like Florida lobster better or do you like Maine lobster better? I'm like, you know what? In Florida, I like Florida lobster better. And in Maine, I like Maine lobster better.
Yeah, you gotta eat it.
I like the fresh local. So we're coming back up to the edge of Boyd's campground. There used to be a yellow building here years ago. It's long gone now. You know, we get hurricanes, buildings just go away. This was a bar that was purchased by a couple of brothers, the Nebo brothers. And if you go to El Mason de Pepe down in Key West on Mallory Square, you can find a picture of the Nebo brothers. They were very famous, locally famous boxers. They bought a bar here and named it Nebo's Bar, but nobody called it that. The shrimpers would go there and start their fights, have massive beer brawls like every night at this bar. So everybody called it the Bucket of Blood. That was Nebo's, famous shrimp bars. So you might have noticed around Stock Island, the artists have really been getting creative and they've been putting these big murals on some of our buildings here. There's a new one over here on the right. Hogfish Bar and Grill. Look at this one. It's got a giant hogfish going after a stone crab there. I'm not sure who's going to win that one. I actually think the stone crab might win. So that's been fun to see all these murals popping up. This is one of our locals here. Nice memorial to him. Now this development over here on the right is called Wreckers Cay. This displaced about 100 families living in the trailer park over here. In 1984, the Florida made a law that if you had a trailer park property, you couldn't rezone the property without paying relocation fees. And so after a lot of court battle, the residents were given $20,000 to relocate so that they could build a 284-unit apartment complex here. So it's going to triple the density right here. And $20,000 is not enough to relocate the keys. So I imagine a lot of those families had to leave the keys. This is our new firehouse over here on the right. This one opened in 2014. There's actually an art gallery inside which you can visit. Yep, and this used to be a place called the Raceway Inn. It was a collection of little wooden, like efficiency cottages, and a lot of people referred to them as the local crack houses. There was also a little bar at the Raceway, probably full of shrimpers. And there was another collection of little wooden cottages over here. As we turn right, it's going to be on our left where Coral Hammock now is today. Coral Hammock was built in the 90s. This was, these are townhouses. Most of them are vacation rentals. The last one that sold, I looked up the other day, was $575,000, 2-bedroom. Not bad for vacation rental in the Keys, I guess. But this again had a bar and some little efficiency cottages. The bar was called the Coral Isle Bar. Nobody called it that. They called it the Free Beer Tomorrow Bar. Does anybody remember that? Has anybody been here that long? Free Beer Tomorrow. That's what everybody called it. It was painted right on the side. If you look back at those photos, I did post one of those photos. What's that? No, I'll show you that later. I'll show you where that one was. This was Coral Isle, which was popular. It's popular as Boca Chica, really. Maybe not quite as infamous. But there was also, when they went to go level those little cottages, you know how sometimes it takes a while, right? Like buildings are slated for demolition, but then it takes a couple months. Well, that's what happened with these. Well, somebody took spray painted the side of one that faced US 1, and they painted on the side Pee-wee's Crack House, really big. So everybody coming in and out of Key West for like months saw Pee-wee's Crack House on Stock Island. Like that's classy. Keep it classy, guys.
Putting a stoplight here in this intersection.
Are they putting one here?
Yeah, I guess they had one temporarily,
And
but
it worked great.
and they're bringing it back permanently.
It worked great. It alleviated so much traffic.
Yeah.
So this is College Road. Now this side of Highway 1 that we just crossed is city property. It's the city of Key West on Stock Island. So you can be in Key West but not on Key West, right? There's quite a bit going on. This road is 1.7 miles long. It's long. It's called College Road. On the last tour, I had 2 people that are staying at the dorms here at the college. That was kind of cool. The jail, you got the animal farm, you got the homeless shelter. Back here on the left, if you've never seen where the homeless shelter is, it's behind those buses over there on the left. You can kind of make out the rounded roofs of the Quonset huts back there. So I had somebody on the last trip told me that they had gone in there and they keep a very clean facility. They make everybody take a shower every day. You can see all these bicycles. Man, there's like a motorcycle and a car. Like some of the homeless people seem to be moving up in the world a little bit. But they make them leave every day. So some of them ride the bus into Key West. A lot of them have jobs. A lot of them don't. You know, so kind of mixed. But that's the location of the homeless shelter. That's always controversial, right? Like every year there's something about the homeless shelter. Nobody wants it in their backyard.
Right.
Have y'all ever been back here before?
No.
No? Yeah, some people have, some people haven't. Yeah, I checked the website to see when the animal farm was going to reopen, but it didn't have any indication on there when they're going to. The lady that runs it, Jeannie, she came here actually to be the curator. Well, look at those birds.
Baby
They're-
birds. Two babies.
Oh, they're little green herons.
Yeah,
Look
that's
at
what it
that.
is.
Little baby green herons over there in that tree. Fighting with each other. and,
You go first.
and somebody in a hurry behind us.
No, you.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a golfer. I'm so bad at golfing, it's not even fun. But I've heard that this is a great golf course. Anybody been golfing here before?
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, it's a good, decent course.
I've heard it's a good course. They opened in 1924. They opened it for like the famous writers
Yeah.
and celebrities that would go to the Casa Marina, so they'd have something to do.
It's funny if you're a woman, you have to wear a collared shirt.
No
If
way.
you have if it's sleeveless. So if you have sleeves, you don't have to have a collar.
Oh my goodness.
But if you have sleeveless, you have to have a collar. Yet men can wear whatever they want.
Nice.
And
His face
flip-flops.
Oh,
Yeah.
Puppy dart.
send them to the powder puff races.
No, it's just funny that they have a higher standard.
So this is the botanical garden over here on the left. This is one of the very first tourist attractions in the Keys. It opened in 1938. The other tourist attraction in the Keys at that time was the Key West Aquarium, which opened in 1935, also built by the federal government with New Deal funds from FDR.
I wondered where this was going.
Yeah?
You know, somebody,
Every
I'm not
time
gonna
I take an
backtrack
Uber,
on
they
it.
want
Okay, I
to go
did
around this
backtrack
one.
a
Like,
little bit
no,
on
go
it.
straight.
Right over there is the bridge to Key West. So those of you who have been on tour with me, we crossed that bridge and we're officially in Key West. For now, we're gonna turn.
So over on the
stay
right
over
is
on Stock Island.
Cowkey Channel Bridge. Oh, I've heard of that one, right? So that one's only about 300 feet long. Every year we used to. I don't know if we still do, but we have that Cowkey Channel Bridge
It's a
run.
former employee right there.
That one was replaced during COVID. That's the one good thing that came out of COVID, wouldn't you say? We were all going to be stuck in Key West while they were replacing that bridge because the traffic was going to be so bad you never get out. So this is Hurricane Hole Marina over here on the right. A hurricane hole is the safest place to keep your boat during a hurricane. You tie it off to the mangroves with really long lines so your boat can go up and down with the incoming water and outgoing water, and your boat's pretty darn safe. Then we've got We Cycle Bicycle Shop. This is where the zombie bike ride began the first 5 years. But there were so many people on the zombie bike ride that they had to stop leaving from here. Now they start over at the airport. Coming up the wood shop building, this was the infamous Boca Chica bar right there on the right. So that bar was open 24 hours. Very popular place, very dangerous place. The police were quoted as saying that they were the least armed people when they went into the Boca Chica bar. A friend of mine, actually an old neighbor and friend of mine, he used to be a drag queen in the 1970s in Key West, and he told me how it worked. He said basically the bars in Key West would close around 2 a.m. Everybody would head over to the Conch Flyer over at the airport. That one was open until 5. Then at 5 a.m., you got people that just got off work, right?
Yeah.
So they're just starting their party. They leave Conch Flyer when it closes and they go to the Boca Chica bar on Stock Island. Now you had shrimpers there, and you had sailors there, and you had drag queens there, and everybody's partying hard in the wee hours of the morning. Imagine those fights, right?
those poor sailors.
Right. So the Boca Chica bar put up a chain link fence in the middle of the bar to separate them. shrimpers and sailors on one side, the drag queens on the other.
That's funny.
They still threw beer bottles at each other, but they hit the chain link fence. Yeah, quite a place, the Boca Chica Bar. So there's one more marina down here called the Cow Key Marina. Has anybody been down here before? You get here by boat. Have you ever come by boat? Yeah, it's pretty cool. They have a new restaurant called the Stock Rock.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I've been there.
yeah, it's a good spot. Like, it's nice.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also a kayak rental place. For locals, they do like, you can go do a full day kayak rental. I don't remember what the price was. It was a pretty good price. So Kayak Kings used to have a different owner, and those guys were like these crazy kayak guys. They would take people out fishing on the kayaks for shark. Yeah, imagine like hanging a big old piece of meat from your fishing line while you're on a kayak, and a shark comes up and grabs it. Like, what's gonna happen? What are you gonna do? You know. So I talked to the new owner of Kayak Kings, and she said they don't do shark fishing anymore, but they do offer a nice local discount. So they do like mangrove tours. I'll pull up here just so you can see it from the roadside. But it is a really cool place to pull up to on a boat. I've done that too. They have a fuel dock if you need fuel. And then the kayak rental is right over here on the right. Sunset Water Sports is down here. And they've got these really cool little boats that I haven't tried yet, but you might have seen ads for them. They're like little, kind of like old school, like racing boats, like little 2-seaters, and they do tours on them. So you get a guide. Yeah, they look like a lot of fun.
You got a scooter back there. I mean, park your scooter. You can
Oh
go back
yeah,
another
I got
foot
it.
or two.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's a palm tree too that might talk to me in a second. Thank you.
There's
This is
somebody
tough
who
one.
lives in the Keys said that the drive-in was right behind you.
Oh, yeah, it was actually on the road over here. And in fact, there wasn't one drive-in theater, there were two.
Really?
Yep, right next to each other. So we had one drive-in that opened in 1953. That one was the Islander drive-in. Has anybody been here that long? No? So they say that yeah, the screen was the largest drive-in movie theater screen in the country. You could see it from the Cow Key Channel Bridge.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was located on the waterfront over here, on the right. So you have the Islander Drive-In Theater down here, where these townhouses are now.
I'll be darned. That's
Yeah.
what he said. This was the
Yeah.
drive-in.
Right
And this
over
was
here.
all empty space until just a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was right before they built this, which was in like the 2010s, something like that. They're relatively new. You can actually kind of see parts of the old drive-in. Yeah, up until just a few years
When
ago.
did they shut down? What, the 90s, 80s?
You know, it's not very clear exactly when it shut down. I couldn't find it. The history on them is very
I
vague.
tried to read
Yeah.
about it. I couldn't find it.
It's very vague. But it was the same owners the whole time, and it just got dilapidated. Now this one was big enough for 650 cars. Then in 1957, the Riviera Drive-In Theater opened right next door, big enough for 1,000 cars. So now you got enough space for 1,650 cars to go watch the movies. You know, it's kind of like the Greyhound track, right? There's only 4,000 people that live on Stock Island. Yeah, you know, so that one was only open for a couple of years, and the ownership of that one was kind of questionable too. Like, it wasn't very clear. There weren't like sale documents, but it looked like the owners of the Islander wound up also owning the Riviera. So they kind of had a monopoly on the drive-in theaters here in Stock Island.
When did the dog track shut down?
1991, if I remember correctly. It went on for quite some time.
I like the CBS houses. It looks like the 1950s, 60s,
Yeah,
70s.
these houses were actually built and marketed to Black people. So it was right like when segregation was kind of happening, you know, it's the end of the 50s, early 60s.
Cool.
And so they were trying to entice the Black people to buy homes here on Stock Island.
You can see
And
the
that's
old
what the
bricks.
ads were.
CBS.
This one freaks me out. This is Clarissa's favorite house.
I can see this house from my house, and I watch to see if which shutters open
And you
It's
never see
scary.
anybody there.
There's never anybody there, but the shutters change as to which one's open.
Jimmy Hoffa's very
Yeah,
scary.
Jimmy Hoffa's in there.
But it's my
something
zombie
creepy's
backup
going
plan.
on.
So I can rappel from my house to that one.
Oh, there you go. Good idea. Or you could do like a zip line from
Yeah.
your house. All right, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this historical tour of Stock Island.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
I hope did y'all learn something?
A lot.
Okay, good.
Now, was this always a park or was it just woods before?
Oh no, it was a park before. They used to play rugby out here. I have a
Really?
friend that plays rugby. Yeah, he's from New Zealand. He's a big rugby player. You know.
I'm so glad I did this tour. This was good.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad y'all have enjoyed it. I'll arm you with my business card and a sticker. Everybody gets a sticker today for taking the tour. And let me know if you ever want to take a tour of the Keys, or we also do walking tours downtown,
Oh, that would be fun.
haunted history tours as well. So I'll give you my card. If you have anybody visiting family or friends in town, you can send them with me for the day and get them out of your hair.
Yeah.
People have been known to do that. Kim, will you please take my mom with you on your tour tomorrow?
Get mom out of the
I'll
house.
take her, no problem. All right, you guys, thank you so much for doing the tour.
So everybody who is here with us, this is Kim. She's been our tour guide. I'm going to post her
Thanks for watching.
information so you guys can book when you're down here in town. She's up the Keys, and I'm going to post her stuff right here on the page as soon as we're done here. Thank you all for coming with us.